Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make a modern hotel with a restaurant and a roof pool. This video is long enough, so I'm going to quickly give you guys the basics of this build and we can get started. Outside, we have not one, but two car parks. I know, starting off with the most exciting thing. We also have, on the ground floor, we have an outside restaurant and an inside restaurant, a kitchen, a fancy lobby area, and of course, plenty of rooms for different guests. The rooms are quite simple, they're split into two. We have a sleeping half with all sorts of amenities that you might still enjoy, and we have another half in which we have a bathroom and a bath/shower, a sink, and all sorts of other things that one might require out of a hotel room. We have elevators and stairs to take us in between floors. Each floor is laid out quite similarly to the previous and next floors, with variation in color and material choice for each one of the hotel rooms. And last but not least, we have the top floor, which is, well, just kind of the roof, really. And I did consider adding a water slide that took us from the roof down into the pool there, but I thought that might be a little bit too crazy, but you feel free to add that if you feel the need to. This is how much room you will need to make your hotel. Feel free to make the grid. Step 1, come all the way over to the front left hand corner of your grid, if you've made it, and count backwards 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Begin by placing 4 blocks of quartz on top of each other. 1, 2, 3, 4. By the way, I'm specifically using the smooth block of quartz. Extend to the right by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend down to the ground, and then continue extending to the right by an additional 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend down, and then continue extending right by 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then join down to the ground. Extend the 6th block to the right by 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Grab your smooth quartz slabs and extend to the right by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend backwards by 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Stick a smooth quartz block on the end and join it down to the ground. Now, just to make sure that everything is measured out correctly and all fine and well, and some parts of this hotel are easier to make once others have been built first, we're going to come all the way to the start of the hotel once more, and we're going to extend this row upwards by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to extend to the right, and we're going to join down to the second row of block of quartz that we ever placed. So you can see the second row of block of quartz that we ever placed that joins vertically down to the ground. Or I suppose it's the third, but you guys can see exactly where we've got to join it. Now, I want to take the corner of the row that we extended down and extend it backwards by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To which we can then extend across and join back to where we very first started, like this. We should even be able to connect this down to the ground. If we make any little mistakes, we'll be able to correct them later on. Perfect. So another thing that we want to do is we want to extend the corner of this block down as well. So 1, 2, 3, and we're just going to join it to the front. We don't want to join it directly down into the ground just yet. We want to continue extending backwards, and we want to extend this corner. Not only did we extend it down, but backwards by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now this is significant because we should be able to extend this all the way over to the right and then down, which we can, so that's perfect. So everything is joining together rather nicely. It's always important to check. Okay, Next, we can take then the right side of the build here, and we can extend it upwards by another 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we can extend it all the way over to the left, and then we can join it down again, like this. So you can see that we have increased the height now of that portion of the hotel. But we want to do a few more things as well. The row here that we extended down and then forwards, and we specifically didn't want to join it down to the ground, this row wants to get extended up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you can join it to the back here, and you can extend it over to the left. Join it down like this. Perfect. So just like this. And we then want to take the corner that we just extended left and down. We can extend this forwards, and we can join it to the very first row of the hotel, the vertical row. We then want to take this corner, extend it across by 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Actually 5, my bad. 5. And then we can join it down like this. And then we can join it backwards. And then we can extend these corners down. And I'm just going to give you a little second just to kind of like look at what we are creating here. So this might look a little bit weird now, but it will start pulling together really, really quickly. And the entire shape that we've kind of like created for ourselves up here, like we want to extend this row of quartz backwards and then join it back to the long row that we created going across the build. We then want to extend this area here upwards by 4. So like the easiest way to do this is like 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4 and join it across, and you'll be able to see a pattern forming here in that we're kind of just like extending up the shape and we're joining the corners down. Like some of the rows that we're extending down, the more interior rows, might get in the way a little bit later on, but we can always knock these things out and we can change the shape of them. But what's important is that we end up with this area. So the entire idea here, and it might even, like if I add in some more guiding rows, hopefully you can kind of see how we got to this point, because it looks a little bit confusing to me and I designed it. So that might help a little bit better, and even more so if we were to add a row across here like this. Hopefully you can kind of like see the structure of the hotel a little bit better. So this is going to be the outside pool area. This is going to be a little bit of a balcony, and these are 2 additional floors. So hopefully you can kind of like see that a little bit better. Hopefully visualization helps a little bit. We have to create the entrance as well. The entrance to the hotel is this kind of like last pair of quartz blocks that we have. We want to take the corners of these where they kind of intersect between each other and extend them forwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Join them together at the end using a row of light grey concrete. Extend forwards a row and extend the light grey concrete upwards a row. Join the quartz down to the ground on the left and right like this. And that's perfect. We can fill the top of this in with, I mean, kind of whatever you like really. It's inconsequential. Maybe some light grey concrete just to kind of like keep with the idea of it. I think that that's probably fine. That doesn't look too bad. And something else that I'm kind of itching to do as well is that now we have this kind of like entrance area for the hotel, and I'm quickly trying to find it on my plans. This is a huge project, so you can imagine how many like pictures and stuff I had to take. So I want to take this row of quartz block here and I want to extend it backwards by, I'm going to start with 15 because then we can't go too wrong. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So just an entire row of 15. We're going to make we're also going to extend this up because I want to create a very clear boundary here. And this is basically going to be like an interior wall, and it's kind of like also an exterior wall as well. I'd like to build up a little bit of the kind of like outside dining area as well. So to do this, we're going to grab ourselves the light grey glazed terracotta. We're going to take this row here of quartz. This is the row of quartz all the way on the right. And we want to place a row of 4 terracotta left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stick a block of quartz on the end. Leave a gap of 1, grey concrete. Gap of 2, 1, 2, grey concrete. Gap of 4 going left, 1, 2, 3, 4, grey concrete, and then there should naturally be a gap of 4. Feel free to raise up the grey concretes by 2 rows. Also, the terracottas, also the smooth quartz. So it should give us this little area here. Now this is quite significant because we also want to have a row of block of quartz in the ground, kind of underneath the right side of this overhang area first of all, and we'll have to restore some of this grass as well because we're actually going to need a little bit of grass. So we want to, on the right side here, have a row of block of quartz just extending forwards like this. And then we want to continue extending it forwards by 1, 2, 3 rows. It lines up with the entrance. Place quartz in there. And then we want to dig all the way over to the left, like this. And what row do we want to leave? Probably a row of 4. So probably we'll line it up with that grey concrete there. So that's perfect. And we're just going to place some light blue glass pane on the quartz like this. Perfect. And we should fill the top of this in also. So I'm going to recommend that for the floor for most of the hotel, except for the ground floor because that's a little bit more variable. I would like it if the hotel's floor, if we made a double floor, we could have like whatever materials we wanted in the hallways and in the rooms. But the way that I've designed the hotel, it's only got a single floor. I'll explain what that means a little bit more if you're not aware. But what it essentially does mean, however, is that we are a little bit limited on what we can do with the actual interior floors because it will show through into the next floor. So that might be a little bit confusing, but I can probably clear that up in a little second. So I want to have filled in that overhang with quartz and then quartz slab. I want to then take the end of the row of quartz here, join it down using oak fence, and in addition to that here as well, where we have the natural separation using the grey concrete. So what I then want to do is dig out underneath certain windows. So underneath these grey concrete areas here, we're going to leave this little gap here. This is going to be a walkway, so we can even add a little glass there at the top. And I just slowly want to start adding details because I guess it doesn't really matter when we get to this, but I just prefer to get this little part done now. I want to shape up the front of the hotel, and I'm filling all these windows in with glass, of course, as you can see. I want to shape this up. I want to give you guys a very clear vision on how this is going to look, even without the fine details, but I want to add things like that. So now you can quite clearly see that that's like an overhang, a canopy you might call it, I'm not sure. And I want to dig out the middle of this as well. And also between these rows of quartz here, we can replace these using quartz block. I accidentally used slab, but it worked out well in the end. And then I'm going to dig out this entire area, sort of. I'm going to dig all the way over to the right, but I'm going to leave a gap of 3. So we're just going to have a little sliver of a footpath here on the right, and then I'm going to turn this into a little garden area. So the rest of the outside area here, I'm going to turn into smooth stone. So it's going to be perfect. So it's going to contrast a little bit nicely against the grass that we've made. Grey is also a contrast colour for us because we're using grey. Dark grey, I should say. We're using dark grey, white, and light blue glass primarily. So adding a little bit of a different texture using some stone, and by using a slightly different grey, it adds a nice contrast rather than making the floor just another white block or something like that. So here we go. That's... oh, my bad. Perfect. There we go. That's looking nice. So we won't be adding any more details to there just at the moment, but I think that in front of the entire hotel, okay, let's add 2 rows, or actually a row of, I guess it goes to the boundary, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 smooth stone, and it's actually not as easy as it looks. Hang on, it's a little bit more complicated. So let's come to the entrance of the hotel, which is here, and let's extend this row forwards out of the entrance of the hotel. 1, 2, 3 with a block of quartz. Extend to the left like this, and then join backwards. So we want to kind of like, we want to separate this area here. And once again, I want to restore that grass. On the left side of the hotel, there is a wall. It's a single wall, and it's only 1 row high. This area here, you can replace it underneath the windows using quartz, and we can do the same to this little side window, like this. So this area I want to leave grass, so that's why that was a little bit trickier, and we have this wall. However, the remaining area in front of the hotel, I want to turn smooth stone. Now, the reason that I was getting ever so slightly confused isn't the word, but like I was really trying to like think of how we could do this. But we need some more materials, and we need a little bit more of the hotel. You see, the right side of the hotel is parking, and there's also some greenery, so I didn't really want to dig out that area there until we had made the at least the side of the hotel. We don't have to make the back of the hotel just yet, but we could really do with the side of the hotel if we're going to be doing that. But that's not going to be quite yet, because I want to add some windows and such, and some more finer details is the wrong word, but some more details to the front of the hotel. Like, I really want to get it looking, I want to get the structure right. Okay, for the entrance of the hotel, we're simply going to add 2 rows of light blue glass pane on the left and right sides. You guys know where the entrance is. I've pointed it out quite a few times, and it's also quite apparent with this big block of light grey. So we also want to have door handles, favourite detail ever. I don't know why, I just really like it. End rods suspended in front of the middle of the doors. They just look like handles. It's perfect. We have to divide up this little area on the front left side of the hotel. We can begin by adding a vertical row of quartz. That already does a really good job. But on the left side here, we want to leave a gap of 1, and we just want to simply have another vertical row of quartz running up through the entire side of the hotel. It divides it up really nicely. It's a really nice detail. We want the same thing just on the side here, and it's actually present throughout every single floor because it marks out where the entrance is going to be for the floors. There's a floor system in the hotel. I mean, I probably didn't have to tell you that, but basically, I'm making this column here. I don't know what else to call it other than a column. Inside the hotel, if you can imagine, this is the entrance to a stairwell. That's the word, a stairwell. And this is where all of the stairs are, in the front left-hand side of the hotel. In addition to that, there's just like a set of windows and such. So I'm just going to join this together just inside the hotel. So this ground level, the lobby here, doesn't really want these walls, but every other single floor, I believe, can just have another row of that like quartz, and it just helps to divide this up a little bit. We're going to fill this exposed part of the floor in using quartz as well. So this is what I called a balcony, and it is kind of a balcony. It's mostly for show, but you can get out here. And I just want to stick a little bit of light blue glass around it like this. I also want to add a row of vertical smooth quartz block. This is parallel to the stairwell here. And just to kind of illustrate, like, this is going to be the entrance out to the pool, and then just to the right here is a window. There's a lot of windows in the hotel. I tried to make it look quite nice and open. To the right of this is going to be a bar area. I'm going to back this using light grey glazed terracotta. Every other floor above this, so literally just above this part, not floors in general, but these areas just above this, are going to be solid glass. I didn't want to use the window design that we used, like just wrapping around this front left-hand corner. I didn't want to use it too much. I wanted a bit of variation. And beyond that, This is probably like, let me think. Yeah, okay, so this is how we're going to get into... Actually, I might not even have that as the entrance. So, the entrance onto this balcony will probably actually be here. Or we could use this as a walkthrough. Let's just fill it. Okay, this is what we're going to do. Okay, so we're not just like sat here doing nothing. I'm going to fill all of these windows in with glass. Every single one of them. Because all of the windows are, for lack of a better word, like marked out. Like we've kind of got like the frames of all of the windows in. We can figure out entrances later. We can figure out layout later. Let's just get all of this filled in with glass, and all it will take is destroying some of it just to kind of like figure out the entrances and exits. And there's no reason why we really have to toil over that very much. But in doing this, I will point out, and I'm sure that you guys have realized, like, this is the most detailed portion of the build. Like, the front of the hotel, and I mean the side of the hotel to some extent. Every single part of this hotel, unlike perhaps some of my other builds, like, every single part does have some form of detail all the way around it. This isn't really meant to be lumped in with a bunch of other buildings. It can, but it requires its own space. Like, a lot of my other builds are able to be placed next to each other. They're able to be condensed. This one, not too much. So, there we go. You can see that we've laid out all of that glass, and it really pulls everything together. Like, it really, like, now you can kind of see how this is coming together nicely. Another portion to think about is that this area up at the top here has to be extended backwards just a little bit more. We want to extend backwards by an additional 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because you're able to get onto the roof, you see. So we can extend this corner back as well here. We want to create an entrance out onto the roof, so that's simply just going to be 1 row. And then we'll have to extend this across as well. But this is how it's going to look. And the roof, we're just going to have a little bit of quartz slab just here, extending across just so that it kind of like reaffirms that this is the top level here. We can extend the quartz across the back as well. And there's an elevator, so the elevator sits in. You can see how this kind of divides in half here. So, like, it divides here. And we can extend this backwards. Like, we can take this middle row, we can extend it back. It divides in half almost perfectly. Well, actually perfectly. And then this area will probably just have filled in with quartz, but the side we can use a little bit of grey of the elevator. I mean, I guess we could actually do the same thing here as well. We could leave this side open, and then we're just going to have kind of like, we're going to create the divide in the window, and then we're going to have glass everywhere else. Perfect. So that's looking pretty nice. So we'll leave that there at the moment, and we will focus more on the front of the hotel again. I know it gets so much attention. So the front of the hotel, how is best to do this? We have to divide the area up into rooms. If we start on the right here, just because this is how the plans are laid out, and we take this middle row because it'll be easier to work with, we want to leave a gap of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 block of quartz. And then another gap of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 block of quartz. Gap of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 block of quartz. And then this last row will be a gap of 5, but it's an abnormal room, so it doesn't matter, you can just leave it as is. So these vertical rows of quartz that I'm placing now are going to divide up the hotel into rooms. The hotel has a lot of rooms in total. Don't ask me how many. Let me see if I can calculate it quite quickly. It's got 2 rooms on the front here, and then on the back it would have 3 rooms at the bottom, 3 rooms at the top. So however many that is, 3, 3, 2. Why is my math bad? 8 rooms, I think. That might even be miscalculated, but it's something similar. Okay, so on the front of the hotel, the rooms have little balconies. So they're actually nicer rooms, really, or worse. If you don't like people watching, then I guess they're worse. But we want to divide these up a little bit. Guys, I had to stop recording for a second, so I've lost my train of thought. However, we have been working on these windows clearly. So these windows double as little balcony windows as well. And these rooms stack on top of each other and they're almost identical. So this room's balcony is here, this room's balcony is here, this is a little window here on the left. This room probably wouldn't have a balcony, so we'll just seal this up with glass, but this one here on the right, if we just add a little bit of smooth quartz slab, then we can add some light blue glass pane in front of it, and there we go, we've got a balcony. We could even add perhaps like a little bit of glass up at the top, but we also want to fill it in just there on the left. So you can see how these rooms sort of lay out. And also there's two portions to these rooms, so there's kind of like the part that you sleep in, kind of like chill out in and what have you, and then there's bathrooms. So the bathrooms also have the rows of grey concrete, and they have windows just up at the top here, and these sort of remind me of Ravagers for some reason. And then we want to simply just fill the lower portion of these rooms in using quartz. So for obvious reasons, like you know, you don't want people looking in whilst you're taking a bath or a shower or whatever. So that's kind of like a complete set of rooms. Like that'd be the living space, that's the bathroom area, and then we repeat it just here along the left. So on the left, we also want to have the vertical rows of grey. We want to have the same thing here. So we might even have this here as well. So obviously, like this end room is ever so slightly bigger, but I think that we'll still keep the grey concrete in the same place. And then for the bathroom area, we want to have, of course, the 2 rows of quartz just at the bottom for the kind of like privacy measure. And then we want to have glass pane to cover up the windows. The left side of the living sort of areas want to be glass. Above here, we want to have smooth quartz slabs with glass pane in front. Fill the top in here with glass. And then underneath we can completely fill this area in with glass, because all of the rooms, by the way, like you might be thinking, oh, this is kind of not private because we've got all of these glass panes. You're probably not thinking that, but I really got into the head of like a hotel designer, I guess. And we're going to put curtains up anyway, so people won't be able to see into the rooms. I don't know, the weird things I think about. Across the entire area here, kind of like the outside pool area, and we don't even necessarily, like we could have a row of quartz or light grey concrete here just so that that looks a little bit less scruffy. And then we can place the light blue glass extending across and kind of like joining like this. So that looks quite good. An alternative to that is to delete 2 rows of grey and simply connect the glass over there, but it's very, very minute detail, it doesn't even matter. Now that we've done that, we're going to move on to the side of the hotel. There's not much detail on this side of the hotel, but there is a little bit of detail. Just not so much in the building, but they're still in the building. Grab smooth quartz block and come all the way up to the top of the hotel. Take this block and extend it backwards by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Extend down by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mark out this row. Down by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mark out this row. We want to extend these rows across by an additional 1. Join them up. Join it back. Like this. We then want to we kind of want this design, and then we want to extend the horizontal rows of quartz across, each by 3. 1, 2, 3, and then let's just extend it up and join it to the top, and then extend the through row. So the end result is this. It sounds sort of difficult, right? But it's not. It's very, very easy. So we then want to extend the hotel backwards by a further 5 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You'll notice that hits the boundary if you've made it. The rest of the hotel, not including these holes, or at least the rest of this portion of the hotel, I've got to get into the habit of saying that. The holes here that we have made, these are window frames, so they can be filled in using glass. They basically just look into a hallway. I just wanted it to look a little bit nicer. The rest of the area can be filled in with quartz. You may be wondering to yourself, why isn't it that the windows extend down to the ground? Because this hotel has a kitchen, and we can't have those same windows in the kitchen. We might be able to add windows though, but there's going to be some decoration outside here anyway, so it's not going to be the worst thing. So now that we've done that, we are going to actually, let's mark out the part of the outside here. So we are going to have 2 rows of smooth stone that sit on the side of the hotel that come all the way back and are parallel with the quartz and the glass on it. So like this. Perfect. So we have the 2 rows of smooth stone. We then want to have another 2 rows of smooth stone. This is just in front of where the car parking section will be. And the rows of smooth stone want to be 6 rows long in total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like this. Perfect. So we now want to extend these last 3 rows that kind of, you know, that were empty and boring. We want to fill them in with grey concrete, and we want to extend them all the way to the back of the hotel. It's worth mentioning there's going to be a wall back here. It's going to be 2 rows of smooth quartz block across the back here. So it's going to be a wall like this. And again, like this back portion of the hotel, like it's a car parking space. We're going to have some greenery. There's not really anything at the back of the hotel. But you could, if you did want to. Now we can always add this at the end. If you did want to, you could make additional car parking spaces. Like if you did feel as though, because the hotel stops here, but you could quite easily like knock out a portion of this wall, perhaps even add another one, you know, and then we could have like a one-way system of. I mean, you could even have like, we can discuss the details of it later, but back here you could have just more car parking spaces, and I might even add that just to kind of like put a little bit more of an end on the hotel, like, because then we could also have like, we'd have to change the road and stuff, but we could have something similar to that if we wanted to. I'll give you guys the option because it does feel as though that the hotel just needs a little something more. I might be wrong, but we'll see. We're not locking ourselves into anything. But the grass part, where the smooth stone path ends, I want to have a row of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 smooth quartz into the ground, and then extend backwards like this, like so. So this will extend across and then join back. Car parking spaces, pretty much everywhere outside of here wants to be dug out. But we do need to create some rows as well. Like, we just have to create where some cars are going to go. And that's pretty much it. I wanted to just make it look... Like, I didn't want the entire side to just be car parking spaces. And I did just want to make this feel... I don't know what the word... Maybe like a little bit more tropical, you know? I wanted it to feel like the hotel had a little bit more life than just like, you know, just kind of like boring car parking spaces. So... we're gonna mark out car parking spaces by placing a smooth block of quartz, gap of 3, 1, 2, 3, quartz, 1, 2, 3, quartz, 1, 2, 3, quartz, 1, 2, 3, natural end there. The quartz will extend backwards, and it will basically be like in line with, and it will just join to the grey concrete that we've already made, like this. Perfect here, and then here as well. Grey concrete in between the rows, like this. Fill in all of these in. And the only part that we're not going to fill in with grey concrete is just here. So you could, if you wanted to, you could make this grey concrete, or you could alternatively like extend this forwards. And you could have like a slightly bigger green area. That's something that we might do. We could even add a hedge to it, actually. That might be a nicer idea than what I had planned. But I don't really want to add the fine details. I do just sort of like want to have this laid out at the moment, which we're doing a good job of doing. I'm quite happy with how this is going so far. So let's come to the back of the hotel now, and let's sort out some of the details with the back of the building, because it's a little bit there's some stuff going on, quite honestly. So on the back of the hotel, first of all, we can kind of just like extend the top of the back of the hotel across. Like we can extend it all the way across, and we can join it to the front of the hotel. So just like this. And we can also join the corner down as well, just because it helps me, and it might even help you to kind of like imagine like just empty spaces like this and then fill them in. So like make big spaces and then smaller and smaller and smaller. We have to make some divides. We're going to do this at the bottom of the hotel. So we want to count to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, mark this out with quartz. Count 1, 2, 3, mark it out with quartz. Count 1, 2, mark it out with quartz. Count to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, mark it out with quartz. Count 1, 2, 3, mark it out with quartz. 1, 2, 3 again, mark it out with quartz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, mark it out with quartz. 1, 2, 3, mark it out with quartz. So you can see that we now have all of these rows of quartz that we have, and we want to join them up to the boundary of the hotel, so all the way up to the ceiling area, and this is going to help us divide things quite nicely. So it takes a little bit of doing, but all of these windows and all of these areas have significance to them. And I think it just looks a lot, instead of just plastering the hotel with just smooth quartz, as I might like to, it does look a little bit better when it is divided up a bit. So, I mean, you could even use, by the way, you could use some different materials. You could add like a little bit of grey and stuff in. I might add a bit of grey just to change things up. So, there's a few things these areas have in common. There are three of the 4-row wide areas, and the first one is over here on the left. So the way that we're going to fill these areas in is quite simple. We'll place 2 rows of grey concrete, glass, quartz, 2 rows of grey concrete, glass, quartz, 2 rows of grey concrete, glass. So it'll look like this. And we want to have the same thing present throughout all of the wider spaces. So 2 grey concrete, glass, quartz, 2 grey concrete, glass, quartz, 2 grey concrete, glass. And again for the other 4-row wide, 2 grey concrete, glass, quartz, so on and so forth as we extend up above the building. And we'll mass fill this in a little sec, but you can see how those areas are pretty much taken care of. So we have the other areas. These are very easy. Where we placed the quartz, we want to have quartz placed horizontally throughout the entire back of the hotel. So where we had the quartz, we can extend the quartz horizontally throughout the entire hotel. So just like this. And it divides the hotel up into floors. You'll notice that as we crack on a little bit later, but there we go. Perfect. So now, suddenly, if we continue now to fill in all of the grey concrete areas, I think that's how I'm going to do it as well, by the way. I'm kind of just going to extend across. I'm going to do all of the grey, and then all of the glass, and then even more glass. Like, everywhere that's not like the grey and the quartz is basically just glass. So that's what we'll be doing. So here, and here, and here. And then we can extend the glass across, destroy these two here. I accidentally placed those here. And you guys might have even noticed that there is a little bit of a pattern here in that it's very similar to the front of the build, sort of. And the rooms are divided in the same way as well, except I guess they're in reverse from the front. But all of the grey concrete areas are kind of like bathrooms. And the other areas, which we are now going to fill in with glass, are the kind of like, I guess the living room's the wrong word because it's also like a bedroom. Plus it's also like a place to get ready. It's a few different things, but you know, like, you guys know what I'm saying. Like the sleeping area is different from the bathroom area, and you can see how it's laid out very similarly to the front, however possibly in reverse. I'm liking my decision to add the grey. I think that it makes a good change. Originally it was just quartz, but as I was making this I was like, the front has grey concrete as well, so why not add it to the back? I actually do quite like it. It'd also be, I might even change it on the front. I might see which I like better. I might swap things around a little bit visually on the front, or I guess it is also nice though to have like variation. So I was going to make the front look kind of like similar because I don't know why, I just sort of like that, but maybe we'll leave it varied. Now, all we have to tackle is this side of the build. So this is the left side of the building, and it's quite easy to do again, quite honestly, because we've reached this point, everything's quite easy. We have to separate the floors. We're going to do that horizontally. You guys know where the floors are maybe by now. It's everywhere that we have the horizontal rows of quartz. If you extend them throughout the entire hotel, kind of like that, it sort of lays itself out. We have two vertical rows of quartz up here. These want to extend down throughout the side of the hotel. These are multi-purposed. So some of these rows are for the, let's just make that as well. Some of these rows are to separate the elevators. Some of these are the space in between. These are staircases. This back portion here, we have to create another window. Along the bottom of the build here, I'm just going to replace this using quartz. And we want to have a gap of 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4 glass. Stick some smooth quartz block on the end. Extend this upwards like this. You'll notice that these windows are parallel to the windows that we have all the way over there. This back portion of quartz, we want to just completely fill in with quartz. Reason being is there's a decent amount on this wall and not every single part of the hotel has to be exposed. However, this part of the hotel is going to be exposed. We're going to fill this portion in with glass all the way up from the bottom, all the way up to the top, like this. So here, and here, and here. There's only, I guess it's technically 4 floors to this hotel. It's not too big. We're going to add light grey concrete. Now, this is because there's elevators inside here, so I'm just making this light grey concrete. An alternative would be to use grey concrete, as we've already used a little bit of actual dark grey, but variation. Plus you can change it, and I might change a few things about the hotel, but we'll stick with this for now. One last thing, and then this whole side can get filled in with glass. We want a vertical row, 2 things. We want a vertical row of quartz block that is opposite the row of quartz block that we have over there. So you can see it divides in the same sort of way. I'm going to delete the white concrete that we have at the base, although white wouldn't be bad because it is slightly contrasty to the quartz. But anyway, I'm going to fill this in, and then I'm going to fill in the remaining, I'm going to fill these windows in with light blue glass. Like this, here, and here. So all these remaining windows are going to be light blue glass, like this. Extending from the bottom all the way up to the top. Here, 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 and here. And so on and so forth. We want to do this here, 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 here. I should stop saying here because it is a lot of glass. But it's okay, we've almost done. So there and there. I've just swapped the word there for here or here for there. There we go. So that's this side of the hotel. That's perfect. And in having done that, we've laid out the structure, and it does look really good. Like, I love the actual structure of this. Like, we've laid out a good amount of the structure of the hotel now. I'm going to add smooth quartz slab around the top of the roof section. And I want to fill this in also. Here. And what do I want to fill it in with? It has to make sense as a ceiling because it's also the ceiling of the rooms. I might just do you know what? I might actually use white concrete. I think I'm going to use white concrete because Oh, grey concrete works too. Let's use light grey concrete. Okay. So I don't want the insides of the rooms to look weird, right? Like these rooms, I don't want to look up at the ceiling and there'd be some sort of weird material like smooth stone. Like I wouldn't like that. But I also don't want the ceilings to be white, because they're white in a lot of other places, but I don't want the ceilings to be white. So I think that light grey concrete is the way to go. Grey concrete itself is probably a bit too dark, so we're going to go with the light grey. It's a good contrast, it's not too dark, it's not too light, it's not too textured, it don't look weird as a ceiling, so that's what we're going to do. And there's a good portion here to add. We should also add a ceiling to the... and we could do a couple of other structural things as well whilst we're at it. So we want to, now that the roof is kind of like filled in here, then we've got this area. So this can just be, we can fit, you know what, actually we'll just seal this up with smooth quartz. That's fine. That's fine. That's perfect. This vertical row of smooth quartz here, like next to the grey concrete area, we can extend this down all the way to the ground, like this. And then this is going to be the elevator area here. I think that that's right in doing that. I think that I can do that because the elevator is only 2 rows wide. And it kind of follows along from this light grey. And then there's like 2 rows of smooth quartz. So like we can have 2 rows of smooth quartz that travel all the way up through the building like this. Right? And then we can have the 2 rows of light grey that also do that. You can't actually get in the elevators, by the way. I should point that out. So it doesn't matter that it will look a little bit weird on the inside of this because no one's going to see it anyway. So there we go. And then we've got the natural splits between the floors like this here and here. We could even have... where did that slab go? We could even limit the... like, we could just add this to the tops of the elevator, some quartz slabs. Might look a little bit better. And then we also have to have walls, by the way. So, a wall here. So, basically, another vertical row of smooth quartz block. Just to kind of, like, chop things up. And we could even use some light grey glazed terracotta. I don't like to try and say things too quickly because light grey glazed terracotta, like I messed that up. So some light grey glazed terracotta. I'm going to extend that all the way up. We don't need that exposed on the back of the build. For the wall, I think I'm going to make it grey concrete like this because this is a wall and it's going to have stuff placed on it. I want a contrast, so that's exactly what I'm going to have. I'm going to have some grey concrete that extends up all the way through the floor. And you guys might be thinking to yourselves like, oh, this seems like a weird thing to care about. You'll see later why it matters a little bit more than you think. So the ceiling, there's enough windows on the sides that we don't have to make skylights. So I reckon we're just going to actually just fill the tops of this in using quartz block. I also think that we're going to lay out the inside a little bit more before we start moving on to, again, what I keep calling like the finer details. Like I want to sort of like sort out more of the structure of the inside, probably not all of it, but more of the structure on the inside before we tackle any of the finer details. Because the finer details is kind of like the fun part where we get to do some different things, but actually that's my least fun part. The most fun part for me is actually making the structure, so... the floor's a big deal. We don't have what we need for the floor, but the grand majority of the floor is going to be made out of red concrete. I shouldn't jump the gun with it though, because not all of it is, but the majority of it is. Let's make some of the stairwell, okay? So the stairwell, it's here. I already said actually, didn't I? So the stairwell's here. It's kind of like this little corner. Kind of like built into the hotel. We want to have a row of, by the way, quartz block that runs opposite the row of quartz that we have on the front of the hotel like this. And we're also going to fill this side of it in with glass as well. I might be making a mistake. I might be making it hard on myself by doing this, but let's make it into quartz like this. And a cool part about this part of the hotel is that we can give it its own floor material, which I want to be red concrete because in my mind it's red carpet, despite the fact it's concrete. But pretty much like this entire area here, everything from the elevator, I almost called it. Some people are scared of elevators, so I suppose some people might refer to them as elevators. I'm not scared of them, but I'm not sure that I'd be able to get through that little trapdoor. You guys ever looked at the trapdoor, like up at the top of the elevator? I'm not sure I'd be able to squeeze through that. I might get trapped in there permanently if the doors couldn't open. But anyway, this front area here that I'll call the lobby, because I guess it is, I'll not only call it the lobby, it is also a lobby, regardless of what I call it. So this is going to be red concrete. And again, the majority of the downstairs is as well. I'm thinking about the rows underneath the glass here. I think we'll just make them quartz, even though, yeah, because technically speaking, despite the fact that we have kind of like a bit of glass pane, all that's missing is a bit of glass pane for that to make it like a full door. The only reason that there isn't glass pane in the middle is because we need to walk through it. But in the real world, obviously, the entire door would be glass, and we use the handles to obviously open the halves of the door. So it would make sense to me that it would be quartz underneath there rather than red concrete, because it's a stop rather than kind of like, you know, just an extension of the inside. Now again, we're getting into minutia that doesn't matter whatsoever, but I like quartz underneath the glass doors, and that's basically what that boils down to. So so weird. And then in front of the lift here, gonna make this red concrete as well. And it's not to say, by the way, that there won't be more red concrete on this ground floor, because there will be, but I want to divide it up into rooms and such first. But before all that, we've got this area. So this is going to be glass for the most part. I'm going to make it so that, can we nip up onto this floor? No, we can't. So let's start on this. We need some stairs as well. Oh, I have them. Okay. So let's make the inside here red concrete, and then we'll add the stairs as well. So the stairs are rather easy to do. They're the same for every single floor, and they look like this. There is 1 quartz stair here, 2 quartz stair here. We could even use a slab, and then a slab in the corner, and then 1 quartz stair here, 2 quartz stair here. Does that make sense? And then red concrete here, here, and then fill the middle of the floor in. So we leave this kind of like Tetris-shaped piece here to allow us to walk between the floors. So if we can actually copy that here onto the next few floors, and then it might make the stair placement a little bit easier, and it might sort of like make things a little bit easier somehow. Is this filled? Is this the top floor? I guess it is. Okay. So here on the top floor, I guess it's a little bit different. We will need to be able to break into this portion here. It might even be more practical for us to enter every floor on this side as well. But I like it here on this floor specifically. I don't know why, but I think we'll seal up just up above. So anyway, the stairs are in the same place regardless on every single floor. There's 2 of them stemming from this corner. Quartz slab here. Stair. Stair. Come round to this side. Stair. Stair. Slab. Onto this side. Stair. Stair. Easy. So I'd like to have a look at it from the outside, because it's quite important. I mean, it wants to look good from the outside, right? Perfect. So that's nice. We've got all of the sets of stairs. We've got no more glass pane than we have to. We'll make this the entrance onto... Maybe we'll have 2 entrances. So we'll be able to get out onto the balcony via that way and that way. I'm quite happy with that. Now that we've done kind of like the stairwells, and we've kind of got the elevators sorted out, maybe we should fill just in front of these elevators using the smooth... Oh, we could make it... We could actually... But then the ceiling is red. And that's weird. Ah, okay. Alright, so I'm just going to fill in between these elevators using smooth quartz. And again, so this is what I mentioned earlier, right? I mentioned that we've got like we've not got double floors or double ceilings. We've only got singles. So if this were, say, a double ceiling in the, like we had 2 rows between the spaces of every floor, we could have a ceiling material, which I would prefer to be something like quartz. But then we'd be able to have a floor material above it, which would be red concrete, but it'd be, everything would still work out nicely because there'd be 2 rows in between the floors, and then we don't have to worry about what's above or below us as we're adding these in. Again, little minutia. So above this area here, going to be using some smooth quartz stair. This is inside of this little column. Again, this is kind of like, so this is the entrance to the bar. So this is, we don't want to have this row here. What else can we do? So we can extend a row, we can extend these rows of quartz backwards as well. So here and here, because these are hallways. So these are going to be hallways that leads to, so they'll be leading to the rooms. What else? So this, okay, so this is going to be a divider for the rooms. So this long wall of quartz, we can actually extend upwards. And this will be the first division between, actually it's not the first division, but it's a division between one of the rooms and like the bathroom. So we've got this here. We can also add a dividing row of quartz here. So like this row of quartz here can actually be extended back and it can line up with that row. And then this will also be a dividing row between kind of like the bathroom area and the more so living area of the hotel rooms. This is also going to act as like a kitchen wall. As I mentioned earlier, this hotel has a kitchen. This row will actually, by the way, extend all the way back. This will actually extend all the way back on this particular, on the first floor anyway, so you should probably stop at 4 rows, but all the way back. Is there an easy way? So also for the rooms start opposite, like on the other side of this glass area. So you can actually mark out where each one of the rooms are going to go with some rows of quartz block just extending back, or rather to the side of the room. So here, and we will also want to divide this area up here. So we've inadvertently made kind of like, this is going to be the entire kitchen space in here, so that's good. And then this is going to be the bathroom to one of the bedrooms. And you guys know how the bedrooms divide up. So everywhere that we've kind of got like, it's like, I've made it slightly tricky because we've got all these rows of quartz, right? But basically the rooms divide up every single place that we have on each side of the grey concrete areas, basically, is how the rooms kind of like divide up. So like this. Perfect. So you can see this back row here. That's perfect. That's how this all divides up. And we can also add, we can extend up the rows that split the rooms in parts. We can extend these rows up to help further divide up the hotel into the individual rooms. And then we can add floors, because the floors are just going to be, I'm just going to make the floors a block of quartz. And then, so here, here. We've got quite a few of them to do, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm sorry if this is like incredibly boring, but you know, it just has to be done. It's a decent sized hotel, and I almost made it more floors too. This hotel does repeat, actually. Like if you wanted to repeat the top floor of this, you could, like indefinitely until you hit like the sky limit or whatever. But there we go. So we have all of this kind of like set out. So in doing this, we've already made the kitchen area, right? Like that's no bigger. So to my knowledge, I accidentally hit my keyboard. You might have heard a horrible sound. That sounded horrible to me. We can now destroy the rest of the floor here, and we can make it red concrete. So we can destroy the rest of kind of like This is no longer the lobby. This is a hallway. But the hotel's actually got quite an interesting layout. I really like it. So on the ground floor, we have access to the lobby area, which is where one would sign in, you know, and all that. There's also obviously the stairs and the elevators opposite them. Then we've got access to the ground floor rooms, but we also have access to the restaurant / dining area and the kitchen, which also leads to the outside as well. So I don't know, it's just kind of interesting. It's varied. It's set out sort of like, I mean, it's not completely different to an actual hotel. So just place quartz there. So I don't know, I just really like that it's a realistic layout, I think, and I'm quite happy because it borders that line between realistic and kind of like Minecraft interesting. So maybe I explained that a little bit, but like it's realistic, but also like it's nice to look at as well. Maybe that's what I'm just trying to say. Maybe I should stop trying to over explain something that doesn't need it. But we've got all of these floors put in now. So what we have to do as well is we have to give the hotel room floors, we have to give that a flooring material, and we also have to add actual interior floors as well to all of the other floors of the hotel, including the rooms and such. Okay, so let's continue to add floors. I think that we're going to start with the back of the hotel first of all. And I'm also, yeah, we'll dig out all of the floors to the rooms. And we'll just replace them with quartz. We can always change this a little bit later. We're going to have to make some entrances into the rooms as well. Let me just make sure that I know how to do this properly. Although, I mean, it should be quite easy. Should have this in the plan somewhere. Okay. So the entrances to every single room are here on the left. And I'm going to dig that out. And the entrances into the bathroom are all the way over onto the right. So that's exactly how it's going to be. I'm also considering, I've already made like a huge amount of these walls, right? Well, not all of them, but I have on the ground floor. I'm considering that I quite like the grey concrete here on the back of the build. Why not add it to the front? So I might do that. Especially above, let's take a look. So this is like one complete room, like this is how much room you get. And then this is the bathroom, of course. We'd probably make the entire wall grey concrete, actually. So let's take a little look. That doesn't look too bad because what you've also got to consider is this is the cut off. So like this is like the slice of the wall that you'll actually see. That's not too bad. And what we can also do is, I like this decoration quite a bit. Where necessary, we can add like plants and stuff to the actual walls. So like if every single little chunk of the wall looked like that, I mean, I think that looks quite nice. So the next room would literally just be to the right here. So we can dig out this wall and here, and then we can continue to dig out the floor. We're definitely going to be changing to grey concrete because I just like it. I think that the grey concrete looks nice. And it's also sort of cool that it's parallel to the grey concrete that we have on the outside as well. We can even keep the floors quartz because these rooms are, let's just grab that. These rooms are small. And whenever you've got a small room, the lighter the materials you use to make it, the brighter, the bigger it looks, basically. So yeah, I quite like that. And then once again, you know, we're just yanking materials out here, and once again we can just have something like this. I mean, this should really be a little bit bigger. So what we could do is we could have something like this, right? And then we could just hang, say, like a lantern, or we could have like a little side table with like a candle on it. I think that you can't put candles on scaffolding, apparently, on Bedrock, but I'll tell you what you can do is we can have candles, and then we can place scaffolding underneath. I know, right? I mean, what are we doing here? So, yeah, that's not a bad decoration at all. Even a lantern would look good too, and that would provide a nice bit of light. Really brightens this whole room up. So that's the room. room, wall here, and then we've got a slightly different idea here. So this is, of course, this is where the next room would begin, and this one's just a little bit different. It's laid out the exact same way internally, but on the outside we've got the kitchen. So we're not going to really, I mean, we could still make the end of the kitchen wall grey concrete, but we'll decide that when we actually work on the kitchen itself, I think. I don't think that that's anything that we've kind of got to like figure out now, so there we go though, and I'm really happy with that. I think that that looks great. And then on the end here, of course, we can still have the plant, which I like. And also, we should make, there is a wall. Okay, so this is the floor to this room here. Like, this is going to be the floor, this smooth quartz. You can extend this all the way outwards here, so that it lines up with, like, this is behind where the desk will be. We can also make a separation. You can see how we have grey concrete there, over there. We want to have that same grey concrete here, with the same glass pane, and I'm also going to add some smooth quartz underneath as well. So here and here as well, and then I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm going to be quite happy. So you can imagine this is where the restaurant begins. I mean, you could even add like a row here if you wanted to. Yeah, I'd make it either that or I'd make it like glass. Glass is perfectly fine. You could have like 1 or 2 rows. In the original version of this, I actually made it so that the kitchen wall, which is here, I made it because the hallways are 4 rows long, 4 rows wide. I actually made it so that we had some terracotta inside here, inside the kitchen, and it just makes that hallway look a little bit nicer, you know? So this is kind of like the dining area, and we're just going to lay it out a little bit. It's not too complicated. Like, the doorway to the kitchen's right here. Then there's a gap of 1. We'll pretty much destroy the rest of the wall here. And then we just want to have, for some reason, like, this kitchen, it's, I have it kind of like laid out like this, right? So this is the window where you can like put orders in and stuff. I'm not sure you'd actually have this in kind of like a fancy restaurant, but I like it anyway, so I'm leaving it. So this is like where you'd put your orders through and what have you, and it's like where you'd get the food from. I quite like it to stop people coming in and out of the kitchen all the time. I also considered making the floor of the kitchen smooth stone, because it seems like a sort of cleanish material with a good texture. I mean, what have we got here? Cobbled deep slate looks quite cool. Could even do that. Now, I know cobbled doesn't look, I quite like that. It's a bit dark though. I don't know, maybe we'll try it. Maybe we'll just try it for the kitchen. Like, it almost looks like some sort of like tile or something. Obviously it's cobble, but I don't know, it sort of looks like some sort of cool pattern. So we might just leave that, or we might rip it up a little bit later on, we'll see. And let's just leave that for now, shall we? So we can do the ceiling to not only the kitchen, but this is also going to be one of the rooms. And we can do the ceilings to the entire back set of rooms. So the ceilings here. We can do the ceilings for the hallways. We're just putting all of the floors in, all of the ceilings. We've got everywhere quite laid out. There's still quite a few things that we do have to do in terms of like layout, especially for more so like in the lobby area, for instance. Like, we've got to lay out desks and stuff. For these hallways up here on the 2nd, 3rd, 4th floor, these have to be laid out, but you know, we are definitely getting there. We're making a lot of good progress. And once we get to the point where we get to the rooms, because we'll leave the rooms until last, we'll leave things like rooms and hallways until last because they're repeatable. Every hallway can pretty much like look like most of the other hallways, but there's only one kitchen, so we're not going to be repeating the kitchen, if that makes sense to you. I'm sure that it does, but I'd just like to get to that point. I'd like to get all of the little fine details done. I keep using that word fine details and it's starting to bother me for some reason, but anyway. So we've got the vertical walls added here. We need to have vertical walls on the front of the build as well. So here. and here. I'm realizing I'm like, this is a lot of work. Like this is, but we've actually got 2 floors. We're working on 2 floors at the same time, so I guess that's okay. So we also have to make a wall here, 2. We can get all the rooms from, yeah, because you see this is like the roof, so we're actually doing 2 floors in one. So taking that into perspective, we're not doing a bad job at all actually. So those are all of the rooms. Let's add the floors in between them, and then we can stick the walls on pretty much. So a lot of painstaking work. I'm thinking about adding another floor, although I wouldn't do it in this tutorial, but it's quite self-evident on how you would add another floor. The more floors it has, I wonder if it would look better. I might have to try it in my actual like testing world, my actual design world first of all, to see if it would. I'm pretty sure it would, because like I don't see how it could look any worse with more floors. It could only look more grand, really. So I might definitely try that. And if the thumbnail has more floors than this, than like what we've made, then you know that I decided to go and see if the hotel would look better with more floors. Like if the thumbnail is different than the hotel that we've made, then you'll know that I've done that, because of course I'm going to use the best looking version of the hotel for the thumbnail. So we've got all, yeah, see, perfect. That's looking great. So these are all the 2nd and 3rd floor rooms now, right? Let me grab doors, because this will help even more. I'm probably going to change that deep slate, by the way, in the kitchen. Although I do sort of like it, but I might change it to like block of netherite. That might look a little bit better. But anyway, door here, skip across, door here, skip across, door here. I was right, there are 8 rooms. No, there's not. Yes, there are. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there's another 4. You know what? I'm too stupid to figure this out. It doesn't matter. I don't know why. I can't math today for some reason. But anyway. So, all of the bathroom walls are going to be grey concrete. So, I'm just going to get all these walls filled in. And then when it comes to the other walls, I think did I just leave them quartz downstairs? I'm pretty sure I did, right? Because, I mean, it'd be fine to make them grey concrete also, but also it's like, let's make them a little bit different. You could even use terracottas. You could use different terracottas if you wanted to as well. You don't have to just stick to one. As a matter of fact, I don't know whether I'll be doing it because this is the tutorial version, which is where I should be doing it, but in the design version, I made every single room's identical except for the colour scheme. So the colour scheme is changeable. I'm sure that I'll do a few different colour schemes. But like, you don't have to customize the outside of the rooms, but the inside of the rooms, quite customizable. So if you wanted to, like something that you could immediately jump at, is you could turn this quartz wall into a bit of terracotta, whether that's just with 2 blocks. Like you could like make a chunk of the wall terracotta. You could make it as high as the ceiling. You could bring it to the door. I wouldn't. I'd probably bring it to here, like this. And then that looks quite nice. But the only thing I don't like about that is that unless you use the same terracotta on every single wall, it's going to start looking a little bit circusy, and I don't really like that. So we're going to make the bathroom walls, where the bathrooms are, we're also going to make the bathroom walls grey, even on the front of the hotel, even though it's different on the front than it is on the back. You'll also notice that the bathrooms that are closer to the inner portion of the hotel, if that makes sense, closer to the, like, here, just one row high, one row wider, we have to add all of the doors on as well. And then when we get into the rooms, you know, obviously we've not added the bathrooms in yet, or the bathroom entrance. That's easily doable when we actually work our way into those particular rooms. So we can have this. But I don't want to make it too spectacular, like I don't want it to look weird outside here. I'm quite happy now. All of the floors are laid out. All of the rooms' floors are laid out. So now we're going to do the hallway. The hallways I really wish I could make red concrete. I really do. We're going to have to use carpet. That's fine though. If you didn't want to use smooth quartz, you could actually use a textured quartz. Quartz brick or chiseled quartz, I like the idea of. Because this is a fancy hotel. You could do that and then just throw carpet on top. I'm just going with quartz probably just because it's a bit of an ease of life sort of thing. But let's drop up to here or fly up to here. We're not really dropping up, we're reverse dropping up, jump up to here. We can fill all of this in here using smooth quartz. And if I just work my way out now, this is the roof, of course. We've done a huge amount now. We've done a huge amount. I'm really, really happy with how this has gone so far. So I think that we're going to take a break on the inside, ladies and gentlemen. I think that we're going to work our way on the outside. Because there's a lot less to do on the outside than there is the inside. So I reckon we will... Actually, I'll tell you what. Let me dump all of these materials. Let me grab some brand new ones. And then hopefully it will be just about everything we need just to make the outside. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do now that I have grabbed some new materials is I'm going to do the more nature parts of the outside the build. So this involves making a couple of kind of palm trees, air quotes. So this is made using some jungle wood. So I'm thinking probably about 2 of them outside the front left hand side here, and probably 1, 2, 3 rows high and 1, 2, 3 rows high. I think that we have to maintain a distance of 2 from just about everything so that they don't get in the way. Stick a lime terracotta on top, extend outwards in every single direction. And then maybe even 2. We might extend outwards by 2 in every direction, right? And then stick... And then basically just extend the second block down. Maybe we'll even extend that first one up. We could even vary the heights of these two. So maybe we'll stick like one here. And then... Yeah, then we'll just make this one a little bit smaller. Just to make it a little bit different. But I do kind of like want them to go together, you know? Like I don't mind that they're a little bit different, that they're a little bit close together. Gonna add some flowering azaleas, a little bit of azure bluets, and then some bone meal. That's it, I'm just gonna bone meal. We could make it more interesting by using some more flowers, some different flowers. Like, originally I was going to perhaps use some spore blossom, but they've got kind of like an effect with them. Big drip leaves look kind of cool as well, placed in the ground, but so we might do that a little bit later. But this little area here, that's just like next to the eating area, flowering azaleas like just straight up the middle. And then, you know what, we'll actually knock one out of every single, like, and we'll just have it extend all the way to the back. Then we'll like destroy every other one. And then we can place some azure bluets on the left and right sides. And then that'll look quite good. I don't think we'll wrap them around. I think that we'll just leave some space in between them. And I quite like how that looks because I don't know, it just looks nice and put together. And you'd expect it to be because it's like where people eat, like it's supposed to look a little bit nicer. Whilst we're here, by the way, just a couple of things. Right in the middle of this path here, a couple of chains, red carpet on top. Or we might even add like an additional chain here with a carpet on top as well. We'll add a we'll have the lectern there. So here. Coming over to this side as well, I'm going to have flowered azalea leaves on top of like that extra strip. So this is kind of like a hedge. But then back here it's going to be like, as long as we leave a gap of 1, then, or a gap of 2, sorry, a gap of 2 around the entire trees, then I'm going to have 3 trees. And you guys know how to make these trees right by now, I'm sure that you do. You just extend 2 rows. I mean, you don't even have to make them... I've already said you don't have to make them even, but what I mean is, like, we can take this tree here, and we could even make it so that, like, that extends up on the top, but we can have, like, one of the branches extend out a bit further. We could have, like, a lower branch on this side. Like, there's a lot that we can do to kind of, like, you know, just vary this up a little bit. But, I mean, it's up to you. Like, I quite like them going together. Like, it looks more natural. And same thing for this one at the back here. We'll probably just have this extend out. We don't have to get too experimental. You know, that's up to you guys, however you want to do it. But we can leave that. We can grab that. Perfect. And then just some Monsieur Bluettes, just so that we definitely get some flowers, because you don't always, obviously, with the bone meal. I mean, 9 times out of 10 you're going to get some sort of flower, but you can see just out of there we've got 1 cornflower. And then we get, I know that it's actually predetermined depending upon the chunk and what have you. I'm pretty sure with the flowers, but anyway, so from the front you can see, I just do think it makes a good difference, right? I do think it just looks a lot better with just that little bit greenery. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to do the outside eating area. So for the outside eating area, we need the terracotta, flowered azalea leaves, a load of chairs, which is smooth quartz stairs, scaffolding, stuff to decorate the tables, carpet, candles, flower pots, lanterns, that sort of stuff really. I mean, that'll pretty much do it. I did want to grab a lectern as well, as I mentioned. The lectern is basically just meant to look like a, oh, what's your name, sir? Oh, do you have a booking? Like, it's one of those things. So we're going to add some azaleas here. It's going to be a row of 3 terracotta with 2 rows of 3 azaleas on top, in between this window and this. And then we're going to have a table. That the table is 3 scaffolding, just extending out from where we have the oak fence, with smooth quartz stairs on either side. Then we'll leave a, whoops, my bad. Then we'll leave a gap of 1, and then we'll have pretty much like the same thing, except just a little bit different, because it's not centered with the oak fence, but that's fine. So just 2 pretty decent sized tables. And then we could have bigger tables if we wanted to. So like here and here, like we can have, I said bigger tables for some reason, but some smaller tables, and we could have like a table for 2 and then a table for 1. And I mean, we can stick candles on it, flower pots. We already established to ourselves that lanterns go straight on tables, so they're no problem. However, candles do not. Yeah, candles are awkward, to say the very least. So here, there's got to, I'm assuming that there's some sort of reason that they function this way. I don't know why myself. I can't fathom why that might be, but you know, a block that is capable of suspending itself in mid-air but can't stand on a scaffolding, I don't know. So anyway, that's that looks really good now. Like immediately that area has picked up so much. So next up we are going to make the sign. So the sign is made using a loom, load of red banners, yellow dye. I don't know why yellow and red. I think because it makes me think that the sign's like made out of lights, you know? That probably sounds stupid, but I mean that's the reasoning. It feels like it stands out more. Anyway, we're gonna throw down a loom, open it up, red banner in there with some yellow dye. First letter is hotel. That's a vertical row of yellow on the left, right, straight through the middle. Grab that, put another banner in. We need to make O. So that is a vertical row on the left, right, horizontal along the top, across the bottom. O. Next will be T. So that's going to be a horizontal row across the top, vertical row straight through the middle. T. Next will be E. So that is a vertical row on the left side, horizontal top, bottom, middle. Perfect. Last letter, L. So this is a vertical row of yellow on the left, horizontal on the bottom, boom. We have, that does not say hotel, but H-O-T-E-L. Perfect. So I don't know, I think it just stands out, especially in a sea of all like grey and white and blue. Like I think it just stands out a lot, and I'm really happy with it. I think it looks really good that way. So now that we've done that, we are going to work on the outside pool part. So let me just slide the images over here. Can get rid of all this. So for the outside pool, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff that we need. We need white concrete, light grey carpet, smooth quartz stairs, smooth quartz slab, ladders, and then we'll need all of these oak blocks as well. And more. It doesn't end here, there's more. Okay, grab the white concrete and head to this area, the place where the pool's going to be, this big roof. This is going to start here. So in between the main part of this bedroom that's closest to here and the bathroom, leave a gap of 2, 1, 2, place a white concrete. That white concrete extends forwards by 1, 2, quartz stair, white concrete. Extend the white concrete across and line it up with where we have the white concrete over there. We want to have 2 blocks of quartz extending up next to that, and then we want to turn this into a rectangle, like this. And then light grey carpet on top of the white carpet, a white concrete, like so. Preferably without all of the floating light grey carpets, like this. And then a couple of ladders on the back of the quartz, and then just one quartz slab I think will look quite fine. And then an open oak fence gate on top of the first block of quartz here. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I think that looks fine. And then, so up here we have a few things. We can get by with a couple of these materials, but we're going to need a lot more. We shouldn't be stingy with these, but we can start off by grabbing, again, all of the oak blocks and also the barrel that we have. So where we have, not this grey concrete here, but the white concrete in front, we want to have a row of 1, 2, 3, 4 upside down oak stairs, oak plank on the end, leave a gap of 1 or place like a fence gate or something, and then place an oak plank. Then barrels along the back here, so just connecting back to this wall. Place a couple of oak fence just on the corner here, and that's I mean, we can use parts, and we could even have like a lantern. So maybe like the lantern on the back here, and we can have a couple of parts like this. And I would like to make this thing in its entirety actually before grabbing some new stuff, but like a couple of levers, so this looks like pumps, so people can get some drinks. I like the idea of having some oak trapdoors just like along the back here, just above where the barrels are, or maybe even just 2 of them. I don't know if we can place brewing stands on these. Yes, we can. So a couple of brewing stands, that's absolutely perfect. And there's just 2 little things that I'd like to do beyond this. Like I'd like to grab the end rods and some carpets. What colour do I want the carpets? So these carpets are for seats. So I might just grab white because it's neutral, but I also want some yellow carpet and some light blue. And I'd like some string as well. So the string is to be placed basically the same area that the brewing stands are. And it's to aid us in making... So hard to place string. And it's to aid us in making a roof that I did consider using hay for, but I don't think it looks as good, to be honest with you. So basically just alternating light blue and yellow carpets here will make up the roof of this little bar, and I think it'll look quite nice. So here we go. And then just a couple of like bar stools. I mean, we could go to the extent of using pistons and stuff, but then we've got to worry about downstairs. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I think that looks nice. It fits in well, but it doesn't look too silly. So one last thing that I'll grab before I just go ahead and just grab like everything else that we need to finish the outside, because don't get me wrong, we are very close to actually completely finishing the outside of the hotel before we head inside. We just need to fill the pool up with water. And now let me go ahead and let me just grab the remaining materials that we'll need just for this outside pool area, and we'll probably make a few cars and stuff too. Okay, so outside here as well, I would like to have like a deck chair and stuff, so a couple of lounging areas. So an oak stair with an oak slab in front of it, maybe leave a gap of 1, and then we can have like a little square of carpet that could be to lay on or to have food on. We can use some oak fence gates open behind the stairs. It just makes it look more like a deck chair, I think. Scaffolding, a flower pot, and a couple of end rods next to this will just look like a table and a drink or something like that. Along here as well, like we can have the same sort of thing, like we can have like an oak wood stair, and I mean, we could have like another fence gate and something like this, you know. We don't have to have the umbrella 2 times because they're pretty annoying to make, to be quite honest with you, but we will make the umbrella or parasol, whichever you'd like to call it. I guess it is just an umbrella, I suppose. And we're just using alternating beds for it, so I really like yellow and blue beds for... Oh, that's annoying. So, yellow and blue beds. There we go. I really like that for anything sort of like beachy sort of feeling. And this feels like quite like a beach, really. So, I'd actually prefer that to be quartz slab just at the top here. And we'll even flare it up a little bit too. So, you see, that looks pretty good. I mean, it's very close to the pool, which is not great, but I guess that's fine. Anyway, it'd be better if it were a little bit further away. Might change that later. We could even have over here, we could have like another like little blanket area here if we wanted to as well. You could even have a bed, but the area is not so big, and honestly, I mean, this kind of like fills it out quite nicely. I think that looks pretty good all by itself. And that's the outside, ladies and gentlemen, other than some cars, which I may or may not add later. I've got separate tutorials for cars, so I'll probably just not add those in the tutorial, but I'll probably add them myself later on anyways. The next thing that we're going to do, the next thing that we're going to work on the more unique parts of the hotel. So, we're going to grab for these next spots. First of all, I want to grab the book and quill, lecterns, polished black stone stairs, end rods, white carpet, and terracotta, and the flowered azalea or flowering. Yeah, flowered. They've already done apparently. No more are coming along. Flowered azalea leaves, and we'll just need stuff for inside the kitchen. So a block of netherite, and we'll leave it at that. So the book and quill has been driving me crazy. I wanted to place it earlier. That is for the guest book, and we want a similar guest book here. Right at the entrance as well, inside here. What is the end rods for? What are the end rods for? Tables. So we are going to have 2x2 tables placed inside here. So the 2x2 tables, they're quite easy to place. You just want to have a gap all the way around them here, and they're pretty much centered in this window, and then we're going to leave a gap of 3, and then here, and then that's it. We're actually just going to have 3 tables. And the tables are made using those end rods. And by the way, feel free to vary this a little bit. You could even add more detail to this, like it depending upon how fancy you want this place to be. Like you could add a piano, you could add like a water feature of some sort. You could make it like you could just add more and more decorations, but I'm quite happy as is. Gonna add some stairs to the tables as well, almost in a randomish, but I guess not so random pattern since I'm doing the same thing on every single table. So let's just mix it up like this. And in between the tables as well, I'd like to just have the same sort of like flowering azalea, sort of like decoration like this, just sort of like in the middle of the room. And I'm quite happy with that. I think that looks pretty good. The only thing that we might want to add, I do have one over there. The only thing that might want to add is a couple of lanterns about the place.
Obvious cut is obvious, so now that we have a couple of lanterns, we can talk about lighting this place up a little bit. So this corner here, this corridor is a little bit dark, so maybe just like a lantern here at the end of the hall. I also feel as though it's a tad bit dark inside the restaurant area too, so a couple of lanterns will do just nicely. And I'm considering specifically that there's a specific picture that I'm thinking of. I don't know why it seems to go in my mind, but that one seems to go in my mind just like on this side of the... Like it just seems to be a restaurant picture. I don't know why, it just seems to sort of like go with the design of the place. So And I'm pretty happy with that. There's not too much more that we have to do unless you want to try and add another table here. I'm thinking if like, I mean, we could place like a single table or something, but I'm very happy with how it is. It doesn't have to be too crowded. So why don't we head into the kitchen now? And the first thing that I'm going to do is rip up the cobble. I do quite like the cobble. I will say, like, I think it is quite a nice texture. It's not bad. I like it better than the actual cobblestone. But for the kitchen, not so much. I'm not even 100% certain that this colour is right. Like, the netherite slash, like, deep slate colour. Like, it might be a bit too dark. But we are going to stick with the block of netherite because I don't want to change it again. So what we're going to be doing in here, just a little basic kitchen. So block of iron, we'll need iron bars. We need a lot of light grey concrete to lay this place out a bit. We'll be using a cauldron and some tripwire hooks. We'll be needing iron trap doors. We'll be using furnaces. And also polished blackstone stairs. So in this corner of the kitchen over here, I'm going to place 2 rows of block of iron like this. And I'm going to stick an iron bar on the end. And it just looks like a big giant fridge freezer. A couple of grey concretes to the right. And then I'm going to place... If we start from this side, it's a bit easier. A couple of light grey concretes here. And then a couple of furnaces. Above the furnaces on the wall, place some polished blackstone stairs. And then make the rest of the counter space like this. We need to have a light in here somewhere, so like a lantern will actually do just for now. And I like the idea of having like a little freezer as well, so if that's like a fridge, then we can have like a couple of iron blocks with some iron trapdoors on top of them, and they can function as a freezer. I want a sink, which can just simply be a cauldron and a tripwire hook. We could even more so have this over here. So like we could have this here next to the cooker, and then it'd probably make a little bit more sense as well. I'm thinking that we need some cupboards, so I probably shouldn't have just wiped out all of my materials. That was probably a bad idea. And I'm going to grab, grey shulker boxes, fine. It's a little bit boring in here with the colour scheme, I suppose, but it's fine. So just some grey shulker boxes just up above here, I'm quite happy with. We need a couple of like more niche materials, like we need a weighted pressure plate. Well, 2 weighted pressure plates, 1 to place next to the sink and a couple to place on top of the ovens here. And speaking of ovens, I want to grab a different kind of furnace. It doesn't matter which one, but I'm going to be using blast furnaces myself. And I'm just going to place a couple of rows of blast furnaces just here on the right. And, I mean, we could even decorate them further, perhaps. We could use some, like, I don't know, some buttons just at the bottom here. And the kitchen's getting it's getting pretty decently full at this point. It might even be nice if there was, like, a microwave in here. The only thing is, it's difficult to make a convincing microwave without using a banner. Like, you can make a really good-looking microwave if you're willing to use a banner. So we'll just have, like, a quick build. We'll have just, like, a very simple black concrete here with a light blue banner. And it sort of looks like a microwave, maybe. If it had a border around the banner, it definitely would. So I might just actually do that. And instead of grabbing absolutely everything. Because I don't want to spend loads and loads and loads of time. I mean, grey dye would probably be better. I actually have a tutorial for loads of little like kitchen appliances and stuff. That will do just nicely. There we go. That just looks way better. I mean, you could even do the same sort of thing here. Like, it's sort of like if you then placed a. If we then placed the banner back in here with some, I don't know, black dye even works. And if we separated them with a horizontal row, there it is, horizontal row of black, and then we placed them in front of the ovens here, I mean, it sort of looks like ovens, you know, like what those that you've got like 2 on top of each other. So, I mean, we can do that just to kind of customize the place a little bit. If you wanted to, you could chuck a chest or 2. You could have, I mean, what else? Like, you could have like stuff that looks like cooking implements. You could have like a shelf above here and what have you. Like, you could even have, and I realize that at this point it's like, it's just a kitchen. I mean, do we have to? It's just a little bit of detail. So Maybe just like a little shelf here, right, and just a couple of item frames with some like order papers on them or something. But I'm quite happy with that. We could even place like a double chest here just to have a little bit of something, and then just a lantern just to kind of like light it up. Maybe even two of them just behind, so it's kind of like well lit a little bit. And I'm quite happy with this. I've probably said that like 5 times, haven't I? And why not go for even more detail? Why not just add a pot here too? We'll leave it at that. I'm quite happy. I've got to stop saying quite happy. I am rather pleased with the kitchen, how it's turned out. So, what does that leave us, ladies and gentlemen? Well, downstairs, because we might as well work our way up the hotel. Downstairs, that leaves us with the lobby area. The lobby area is actually rather simple. The next thing that we're going to be doing, and we are rapidly running out of things to do, trust me. We are going to do the lobby, and we are going to do all of the hallways and things like that. And then we'll move on to the rooms. But I have to grab some new materials first. I'll be back in a moment. So, for the front desk area, we're gonna just start all the way over here on the left, and we're going to place a row of grey concrete from the floor to the ceiling. We're going to leave a gap of 3, and then 1, 2, 3 grey concrete from, once again, the floor to the ceiling. And then we're going to leave another gap of 3, and then, once again, just floor to the ceiling. So, this is kind of going to mark out the actual, like, front desk area. And we've just got to make a little bit of a desk itself. So, we'll use an upside down quartz stair, leave a gap, block of quartz, and then we'll use upside down smooth quartz stair coming all the way across, and then yeah, we'll stick a smooth quartz block on the end, but then join it back using smooth quartz stairs. And underneath the desk, I'm thinking that we use a little bit of light grey concrete. I'm also considering sea lanterns, but we can place plenty of light sources on the actual desk itself. And there's not going to be too much stuff on here, really. So, like, on this area, like, I mean, first of all, let's just place a lantern on the left and right, because that'll light it up. The area behind, I'm not 100% sure what to do with it. Like, I don't know whether it'd be a good idea to have, like, some bookshelves. And to have, like, I did consider just some, like, chests, because obviously there's got to be stuff that, that would be stored in chests, like, on the back here. And then I was considering some paintings. So, something like, I guess it'd be symmetrical, which is ironic that we're getting the skull, and I really don't want that, because I don't want this to be some sort of weird hotel that has skull paintings on the wall, but something like the Thinking Man, as I like to call him, would be great. You know, any time now, it'd be, would be, there we go, perfect. And then if it was symmetrical, it'd probably be a little bit better, you know, that doesn't look too bad. I'm quite happy with that. And then, I've got to stop saying that, seriously. And then, I mean, we could even have a painting just in the middle. I just feel as though there'd be a lot of artwork and stuff around, you know? And, I mean, on the desk area, there'd probably also be quite a few plants and flowers, and, you know, I'm just imagining things, just to make it look nice for nice's sake. Like, that's what this sort of hotel is. Here we go. And just, I mean, we need some chairs. I mean, they can be polished blackstone, just to kind of like, you know, throw off a little bit the white and the grey. And we want some computers. I mean, that couldn't be easier. That's just made using weighted pressure plates and birch trap doors. Easy peasy. And I want them... That's a tall computer. And I want them just in front like this. I want it very symmetrical. So... we could even have, like, in my mind, these would be iPads, okay? So, you know, like here and here. But they also just make, like, sort of nice decoration. And sometimes there's, like, that bell that you can ring, isn't there? There's, where it's like, you know, I need assistance bell. So we could use that, or you could equally so use this as mice, but... again, I'm trying to keep it quite symmetrical as I might have to delete one of these plants because it's kind of like ruining it a little bit. But that's the front desk. I'm pleased with that. I'm trying to say a different phrase. And I have considered as well that it might be nice to have kind of like, you know how sometimes you can have like your own little sign-ins? What is with the pictures today? The pictures we're actually getting like repeats, like almost every time. That's crazy. So you know how sometimes you can like sign in places yourself and stuff like this, touch screens and just like computer terminals and stuff. I don't know if terminal's the right word, but that's kind of like what I imagine for this, and it just kind of like uses a little bit of the space. In the lobby area as well, it would make sense that there'd be a little bit of a seating area too, and kind of going with the like using some different materials vibe. Wax oxidized copper in both the stair and the slab variant, and also some smooth quartz slab. I mean, we could even implement some quartz stairs as well, and then maybe some pictures, some painting, some grey concrete, scaffolding, maybe even some bookshelves. I just want to make it look a little bit more interesting. So I'm thinking about flaring out the grey concrete area here, and then in front of this, placing like a little sofa. So I'm thinking the middle of the sofa can be copper, and then the ends smooth quartz stairs, and then have a little table in front of it like this. And then I think that looks pretty decent. I mean, we could even maybe I think that that's a little bit too close to the desk if we do that, but just a little table like that, and we could always stick a scaffolding on the end, and we could even build books up left and right just to make it look like just a more interesting lobby. I mean, the paintings as well. Maybe we won't. Not that painting. Not that painting. No. So we could even stack a couple of paintings on top of each other. If no, okay then, fine. So I quite like it in that position. But maybe then, if not that, maybe some plants. So maybe just have like a double table on that side. We could even keep the bookshelves on that side, and then we can have a mixture of a lantern, because it seems so dark in here. And then we can have just a plant here, because we want to keep it like light and colourful and bright. Like, I don't want it to be too boring in here. And this is the elevator as well, and well, here's the only thing is that I was also going to place a plant next to the elevator, so I mean, I guess I am repeating the same thing over and over again, but that doesn't mean that you can't vary if you don't want to. And just a button for the elevator, and that's pretty much it. I mean, that's how this goes, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this is the lobby. It's not too crowded, but it's also not too lacking either. So this is the lobby. And now we have just 2 more floors to do, right? So 1 and 2, yeah, pretty much just 2 floors. Well, sort of 3, because we're working on hallways and such. So as we get up to the next floor, because we're done with the ground floor for now, you know, we're going to want to keep repeating, like, we want to have the plant, we want to have the button for the elevator. That's all fine and well. This wall's quite nicely decorated, but it might be an idea to, like, you know, flare out this wall. It might be an idea to add the seating. So, I mean, we don't necessarily need to have the... Was it copper in the middle? I think it was, right? So, if not, we can alternate it. So, it'd be nice to have, like, a little bit of seating and just a little bit of light as well. Just left and right. Like this. Perfect. And then we can place... Need to really refine these materials that I'm going to use. I don't want to keep having to grab different ones. So, you know, just something like that would look just fine. And upstairs here, we have the opportunity to use carpet as well. So, we can just use some carpet, and we're going to be doing the... Oh, and yeah. So, I'm going to place the carpet... Well, I've got to place it around the sofa, but that's fine. I don't really want it to touch the edge of anything. Like, I still want it to be, like, white for the most part. Just, like, some white and red like this. Here. Here. That's not looking too bad. And then through here as well. And then down the hallway. And I don't want the hallways to be too crowded, but we are going to want to kind of, like, decorate them in a similar manner to how we did downstairs, though. Like, because you don't want... Well, I mean, some hotels do this, actually. Like, there's themes for different rooms and such. But in this one, you know, it does strike a little bit of a balance between modern. So, you know, just in between the doors and such, and maybe even... I think for this bigger room, I actually used like a table, didn't I? Like, I used a scaffolding with like a torch on it, like that torch. A lantern on it, so here and here as well. You know, just kind of like break it up a bit. And we can do the same thing. Luckily, since these are opposite, like we can just have plant, 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 plant. And they don't really like... They're not in contact with each other. It actually almost makes the hallway look kind of nice. Like, it sort of like breaks up the boring of the hallway. And we can always have like bookshelves and stuff as we're going down. Like, again, it's meant to feel like a bit of a fancier hotel. So maybe just some bookshelves and stuff just to kind of like... just to kind of decorate it a bit. But I'm very, very happy with... just leaving it like this. We might want to have like a lantern at the end of the hall. Anywhere that you've... Well, I mean, even above the rooms themselves, if you like, you can mark them out with a lantern. I don't want to use too many of them, you know, but I do think that it kind of like highlights the area. And that is that. I'm considering placing this decoration here. I don't know whether that's a good idea or not. I don't know whether I like that or not. I might like that better if this wasn't here. Like, that looks a little bit better, and I'd get rid of this. And, oh, I think we do need those lanterns, otherwise it's too dark. I do quite like that, though. That's not bad. I like it better than the sofa, I think. And then, I don't want to use a million lanterns, but there's no better light source to me. I really like them. So, yeah, that's pretty good. So, I'm going to decorate every single hallway like this. The only variation is... So, I'm not going to be doing this on recording for the next floor, by the way, because I'm literally just going to be copying what's down below. So, you know, apply it to as many floors as you would like or need. And then this top floor is going to be dead simple again. Like, this top floor, we're just going to have it... maybe we'll take one off the end here. And we'll shave the grey concrete off. There we go. So that looks a little bit... I mean, we could even get rid of this window so that we're able to have this decoration, because it's just just a little bit boring in this room, and it doesn't matter too much, but I just wanted to make it so that we could even flare that out like this, and then we could actually have a seat, like maybe staff can come up here to kind of like chill out a little bit, you know, something like that. So we can have, once again, the famous lantern and a flower pot. And then here we need to have the azalea again. And the button as well for the lift door. So the azalea, button for the lift door. I still want to have... Do we want to have red carpet on the top floor? Does that make sense? Well, because people shouldn't be coming up here. Nobody's room is going to be on the top floor. So does it make sense to? I don't know. I mean, I guess it does look a little bit nicer. I don't really want to go overboard with the detail because it is just the roof. There's nothing much on the roof. I did consider putting another pool up here. And I did consider having a water slide from this roof to that pool. But then I thought that we were kind of getting into, like, silly territory. Like, this is very, very... Like, this is a reasonable build so far. Like, it's not silly, really. Like, it makes sense in the world. But if I added, like, a roof slide into the next floor, it was... Nah. Cool as it might be, but... So, that's how you lay out the floors, ladies and gentlemen. We've sorted out one floor entirely, all the hallways and stuff. I prefer this to the seating plan. And you feel free to put pictures and stuff in these areas, but I'm quite happy to leave them as they are. Which leaves but one thing. And one thing only, and I'm going to start at the bottom of the hotel and work up, because I am going to do all of the floors as well. Like, I'm not just leaving that second floor blank, I am going to do the whole thing. And it leaves the rooms. There's only the rooms to do. And the rooms aren't that difficult, to be quite honest with you. Once you've done one, you've literally done them all. we just vary the colours and such. Although I don't think I will. I think I'll just make them all the same colour. Or maybe just like 1 or 2 variations. But anyway, I'm going to get rid of all of these materials. I think that we'll be able to just do this with one more inventory of stuff. So I'll be back once I've figured that out. So you don't actually need too much stuff to make the rooms. And once again, I do just want to point out that every single room is identical, even the ones that are a bit bigger. All we do is we just make a slightly bigger bath and slightly bigger units in the bathroom. So I'm sure that maybe we'll do a bigger one as well as this one, but here's the thing. Every single room has a double bed. There's just a double bed in the corner. I'm going with cyan. The whole theme is like white and cyan with a bit of spruce thrown in. Right of this, I'm going to have a bedside table. That's an upside down spruce stair with a sign in front. End rod on top for a lamp with a terracotta on top, glazed terracotta. In front of this, just a little set of drawers or an ottoman or whatever, you know, some sort of storage little unit. There's always like a kettle in hotel rooms for some reason, and there's a pot as well. On the wall, a TV, so you could imagine that to be a TV, or you could imagine that to be a picture. It's up to you. Curtains are important. Every single room's got curtains, so I'm just going to put just like a strip of color appropriate banners on the windows. So just to cover them up, one on the left side, one on the right. The left side, you know, we can't place it all the way down, but we don't have to either, so. Heading into the bathroom, this is where we just shift materials around a little bit. So there's going to be polished blackstone stairs, end rod, iron trap door. We can even use pots, quartz stair, oak trap door. We need spruce stair, spruce sides, and a cauldron, and we need a couple more things as well. In the corner is a toilet. That's a smooth quartz stairs with an oak trap door on top. We need to make a bath or bath, which is just made using upside down blackstone stairs like this in kind of like a corner formation. It's also going to be like a shower bath, so we're going to have just like a little shower faucet, might you call that? I don't know, like a shower head up here. We can have a couple of flower pots on here as well for shampoo bottles, whatever. Candles also work as well, but they're a bit more of a pain. In the corner, a unit using the spruce stair with a spruce sign in front. Cauldron next to it, and then if you want, you can place another unit, or you can arrange so that the sink is in the corner and then the unit on the side doesn't look too bad. Up to you. Tripwire hook, painting, this above here. Can put a pot on here if you like. There's a load of pots in here already, but you know. And then a painting up here, and that's all there is to it. That's it, the bathroom, very easy. Oh, you can also put a towel, if you like, on the wall. That's a cyan banner. And then, quite honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I did say that I'd show you how to do a bigger room, but here's the difference between the bigger rooms, right? This bathroom here is 1 block longer. So that means all you have to do is put a space between the toilet and the bath, or make the bath longer, and that's it. And you can keep the same unit if you like, or you can add another block. But honestly, there's not really any point. They are quite literally all the same. And that's essentially this tutorial done, ladies and gentlemen. We've kind of finished the whole thing at this point. So what I'm going to do myself is I'm going to go away, decorate every single room. I might even decorate them by like each floor might have a particular color theme. And I might add some cars outside and stuff. I'm sure that you'll get to see all of the changes that I've made. But we've actually done. It's just a rinse and repeat from here on out.
So this is what your hotel will look like once it has been 100% fully completed. I've made a couple of changes to the outside, which I'll show you. Number one, I have added a car park extending out the back, of which it has enough room for I think about 8 or 9 cars, and I've made some. And it's not very difficult to make the little extra car park back here, by the way. It is literally just extending the back of the hotel out, adding a little bit of grey, adding a little bit of white, and then throwing the cars down. So I didn't think that I would include that as part of the tutorial since it's quite easy to do. I also added some cars to the right side of the build as well. And that's pretty much it for the outside. Like, you've seen absolutely everything else. I mean, we built it together, so hopefully you guys know what it all looks like. But we've got all of the other outside parts done. We've got the pool done. We've got the outside eating area done as well. We also have the lobby too. The lobby is looking pretty good. This hotel, it strikes a balance with me where it's not too cluttered, but it's also not too simple either. Like, it's a nice little mix. That's the entire lobby. It's looking quite good. We have our dining area on the inside as well as our kitchen area too, which once again just strikes that balance. I mean, there's not too much, there's not too little. I find that it's just right in terms of detail. Let's take a look at one of the rooms downstairs. We'll take a look at a room on every single floor. So we've got a set of the cyan rooms down on the ground floor. As you can see, they are all the same. They are all going to be identical, but just to give you guys some ideas with the colors, I will show you one on every floor. There's not even that many floors, so it shouldn't be too difficult. We can head upstairs now. Of course, we can't use the elevator, although that would be the most useful thing. We have to come up the stairs, and each floor is laid out this exact same sort of way, where we have all of the plants and we have all of the lanterns and a side table and such. Let's take a look at the bigger room. This should be the bigger room. So this one is a purple room. One of the few rooms where I forgot to add the curtains. Hang on. Did I forget to add the curtains in this? Okay, perfect. Here we go. So I added curtains in this room. I must have gotten that one. As you can see, we're going with the birch this time with purple. And it's, I mean, again, everything's all nice and the same, except for the fact that we've went with a little bit of purple and we've went with the birch. So that would be my recommendation as to, if you do want to change some of the rooms, just go with the colours, just go with the material choice. That's what I'd do. And finally, if we come up onto the last, well, it's not the last floor, but it is the last, like, you know, I guess commercial floor. Let's see if we have the big room laid out properly. Okay, perfect. So we have a green room up here on the 3rd floor of the hotel. Once again, this is the bigger of the set of rooms, and the only difference being is that there is a space in between the toilet, and this unit doesn't look as cramped because we've got an extra room, and that's it. That's all the only difference. So even when the room is ever so slightly bigger, it's still the same pretty much. So let's just go up to the roof. We might as well, because, you know, we've got this far up the hotel, we might as well continue going up. And what do we have up here, of course, other than just a little chill out area, perhaps for the employees, and we just have access to the roof, and that's all there is to it. If you've enjoyed this tutorial, please do remember to hit that like button. Helps me and the channel out very, very much. Subscribe to the channel, click that little bell. That'll ensure that you get all my videos sent directly to your sub box. And if you do want to make anything else by me, check out the card system in the description below. I'll leave 2 very important playlists in there. Without any further ado, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!